Hello everybody, welcome to the Psychic Academy, to today's class. So basically what we're going to be doing this week is just kind of a review of what we've done in the few weeks past. And I think because many people here are new, you guys actually haven't been able to experience the earlier weeks in the Psychic Academy. So you'll be able to experience a lot more of what we were doing. This is kind of like a refresher week. Again, this is moving into our 6th week now of the Psychic Academy. So a lot of what we're talking about today is in part of like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, etc. So we're basically just kind of doing a bit of a refresher. But before we do that, we're going to move into a meditation. And then, of course, we're going to be doing our affirmations and water. Then we'll be doing our week reflections. So this will basically be sharing a lot about how things went last week in regards to your homework assignment or any other particular form of great reflection that you would like to share. Then we're going to be talking about opening to feeling centers. This is going to help to stimulate more of the psychic ability within yourself. Then we're going to be doing what's known as Chi Ball programming with symbols. So I'll basically show you guys how the original Chi Ball works, just through the idea of intention, and then we're going to play around with symbols with that and show you how that's done. Then we're going to do some reading demonstrations, so we're basically going to partner up and we're just going to be doing some readings with each other. And then finally we're going to have a homework assignment, and this represents psychometry. So this will be moving into next week's class regarding psychometry. So psychometry is basically the idea of picking up an object and being able to read the energies of that object and just find out exactly what it wants to tell you. So basically kind of like reading the Akashic records of that particular object. What we're going to do first is we're going to go into a very brief meditation here. So why don't we all get ourselves comfortable, relax, and just go ahead now. We can close our eyes. And taking a deep breath into the nose. And out to the mouth. Breathing into the nose. And out to the mouth. Into the nose. And out to the mouth. And one last time. Breathing into the nose. And out to the mouth. And just relax yourselves and breathe normally. And just start to go into your center now. Start to come back into your own space of love. And I just want you to place your hand or your hands upon your heart as you're now connecting to your heart center, to your heart space, to the center of your neutrality. And this is just a time to check in with yourself. This is just a time to feel exactly where you are, relating to alignment, relating to the ability of you to center. Just feeling this beautiful moment through yourself, through your environment, through your reality. Just take a few moments now to connect with your heart and just be in that space now. Just sending love and blessings now to your heart, to yourself, and to all that is. With love, light, and appreciation to all of you. Namaste. Okay, so now we can come back into the present moment. And we're going to go ahead now and move on to affirmations and water. So we're going to go around in a circle today and just kind of go around and share an affirmation with ourselves. So I'll go ahead and I'll begin, and then we'll just start with Willany, and then we'll move down to David. So for my affirmation this morning, I realize that my mind can tend to wander, as there are a lot of thoughts that take place within my mind that really have nothing to do with me. However, I realize that those thoughts are all basically just attempting to become reorganized, and that I have the capability of reorganizing those thoughts and bringing myself into tranquility and in divine center. Okay, so let's start with Willany for your affirmation.
I acknowledge that I need to drink more water and meditate during the daytime. And I realize that by making time for this in the morning and afternoon, it's going to help me be a healthier person overall.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you. All right, let's move on to Celeste.
Hi. I realize that my thoughts need to be more centered into the oneness and not allow them to just scatter about.
Okay, and what would be the solution for that?
Just to focus on just flow. Just the flow.
Yeah.
Breathe in the flow, allow the thoughts to realign.
There you go. Very good. Yeah. So we always want to make sure we admit the challenge, but we always want to make sure that we're aligned to the solution as well. Too. So, very good. Thank you, Celeste. All right, let's move on to Khalil.
I acknowledge that I don't spend the spare time that I have in the day doing all the things that I think are most important. And I realize that I do have the time to do so, and I just simply will make it happen.
Mm-hmm. That's my case as well sometimes too. I know that there's things I could be doing that I don't be doing. Sometimes I'm just like in trance with things that really aren't, to me, too important. But it's like there's like an enjoyment to it. So I know exactly what you mean. So it's basically just kind of coming to center in that point and saying, okay, am I really using my energy the way I want to? Maybe I'm here watching music videos or something like that. You know, something that I really enjoy. And in a sense, I could probably be doing some great projects that I also enjoy a lot more. So that's just basically coming into our center to realize that. So I'm definitely with you there. All right, excellent. Thank you, Khalil. Let's move on to David.
Okay, hi. I realize that sometimes I get distracted by things that I don't really prefer, but I acknowledge that it helped me to embrace different kinds of experience and to let them go and to transcend them.
Okay, great, excellent. Thank you, David. All right, great, guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the water affirmation. So we can do this one of two ways. One, we can do it through the symbol technique that was taught last week, or we can just do it through a simple thought intention. So it's completely up to you guys, whatever you would like to do with your positive, powerful affirmation for your water today, whether that be through symbol or just through thought. But just go ahead and grab your glasses now, and we're just going to give a minute to ourselves as we connect with the water and just bring in that powerful, positive affirmation for our water affirmation. Here we go. guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on to today's class. So the first thing we're going to start with today is, again, just week reflections. So again, last week I left you guys with some homework, which basically involved talking to a tree and connecting with your higher self, right? Why don't we just kind of go down the line here. We're going to start with David. Just in regards to anything you want to share with your past week. It can certainly be about your homework, but is there anything that you may feel that may have been a challenge, or maybe an inspiration, or something that you would like to reflect on, that you would like to share on relating to last week, leading up until now? David, anything you'd like to share?
Of course, I really work on connecting with nature, talking with trees. I ask them how they feel when they give flowers, when they change leaves. And I also, one day I was walking just by my house, and I saw a tree, and without thinking I went them and give him a hug, and he gave me something really strange, like a kind of pyramid. It's a kind of like I don't know, like a time regulator. I don't know. And this says this, yeah. And it was in a, I don't know how to say that, in a bunch of the tree. I don't know, in a part, it was like here, like this in the tree.
Oh, well.
And then I went to do some workout, and then I came back, and the tree gave me this, a little rock.
Wow.
And I didn't understand what he tried to share with me, but he gave me this, and it's really cool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can move this, and you have like a kind of a crystal here, but I don't know what kind of crystal.
Yeah, well, this is what I would suggest as well, is looking into doing a psychometry homework on that as well, too, because we're going to look into that. But I think that's a really good object to look into a lot further. Yeah. I feel that's something that really has a very strong connection with you, so we'll definitely look into that. That's quite amazing, though, finding two really great objects like that. So.
Yeah, I showed them to one of my friends, and they tell me that have some Maya symbology from the Mayan culture.
Yeah, does represent pyramids.
Yes, I feel that. Yeah. That was really cool.
Well, that's great. And there's, like I said, there's a synchronicity there, so it may just have to be something with a cycle, or something representing yourself. But again, like I said, doing like a psychometry homework meditation on it as well too may help to really bring a lot more clarity to that. So very good. Excellent.
Okay, thank you, Brett.
All right, thank you so much, dude. Very, very good week. All right, let's move on to Khalil. Khalil, anything that you'd like to share with last week?
Yes. So since last week, we went outside. Willanie and I both went out there, and we did we spent some time with the tree out in the front yard, and really got to know it a little bit better. Let's see. The other day, something interesting happened. I was in the backyard. The dog was going to the bathroom, and I was standing on the balcony. And about 3 houses down, there's a dog that's tethered to their balcony, and it was out there barking. And basically, it wasn't like angry barking. It was definitely the whining and just, I want attention, give me some love. And so after a few minutes of that, I thought, you know what, I can do that. And so just to make sure that I wasn't using body language to affect the dog, I stood just like I was, facing my own dog in the yard, and I simply scented love. So I basically imagined the love emanating from my chest and kind of triangulating right at the dog, and within, I believe it was about 10 seconds, the dog stopped barking, and it didn't bark anymore for the rest of the couple of minutes that I was out there.
Wow.
So I thought that was very interesting.
They connected, yeah, they definitely connected in that one as well. And that's very interesting too, because that's a synchronicity that's happened to me here. There's a neighbor just down the street, and they have 2 really barky German shepherds, right? And so every time I'm just walking down that street, the dogs are just starting to bark, but it doesn't feel like an angry bark. It feels like an attention-based bark. They want attention. And so all I do is basically just kind of lock with their eyes and just kind of smile at them, and then they stop, and then I just kind of go on my way. So it's kind of like that feeling of connection. You just kind of look at that energy of love, that energy of innocence, and you notice that just animals are the first to feel it. So when you start to feel that kind of just love and innocence, look at them in the eye, smile at them, kind of really open up your heart, and you'll feel that really strong connection that comes through. So that's very good that you're experiencing that. It's just, I feel that that's just another part of us connecting more to the animal consciousness as well too. So when you really look into the heart, the animals will notice they're not going to have an ego and say, I'm going to keep barking at you, right? So it's not really a bark of anger like you were saying. It's just something sometimes maybe for attention purposes. So very good. Excellent. Thank you so much, Khalil, for sharing that. Let's go ahead and move on now to Celissa. Celissa, how was your week?
I managed to go to an island park and just to be one with the area and give some seed to the birds. The chickadee didn't want to come to the hand, oh well. But also a bit of healing to one tree that there was some damage because of the storm that we had. So, but they're basically asleep because it's deep winter. Just felt at one with, but I've done a lot of energy work there, so it's just felt so good to be out there again. And besides the hectic family drama stuff that's ongoing, so it was a nice break.
Yeah, no, I hear that, exactly. Very good. Sounds like a beautiful week. So excellent. Thank you, Celissa. Let's move on now to Willany. Willany, how was your week?
My week is pretty awesome. The first thing that happened was last week Khalil ordered some Oregon crystals, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but we got it, and I feel like this totally different positive energy, and I can tell in my class because a lot of the students who are considered bad, they're either becoming more positive or they're kind of moving away or shifting away from me. And it's interesting to see how that dynamic is changing, and I feel like a positiveness throughout my classroom and around me. And as far as the homework with the tree connection, I felt like I had a conversation with it, and it was really cool to just kind of let my inhibitions of my physical state, which is, okay, my neighbors are passing by looking at me holding a tree and hugging it, but it didn't matter to me. It felt so relaxing, and I felt one with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you were sharing you were sharing one of your experiences on the Facebook group.
Right.
The tree. So yeah, that's quite awesome. Very, very good.
And one more thing, I apologize. I watched a video regarding ET ships, and I had a dream feeling like I had been on one, and it was confirmed that I was. And so over the weekend, at night, I connected my love to, I want to say, outer space or the air around me, and I got some confirmations back through different lights, and I saw different shapes and things, and it was just amazing to me. So almost every night my husband can confirm I'm out there just trying to connect myself and see what more will be shown to me.
That's very true. And it's actually very easy nowadays to actually summon a craft in your area. If it's an area that doesn't have a lot of people around it, if you're kind of in a nice, quiet area, it becomes a lot easier. Sometimes maybe you just need to go out to maybe a quiet park, or maybe some area right there that's very secluded, and you can basically just call upon them, and you just basically say, here I am in the world, this is where I am located on the planet. If there's any beings that would like to communicate with me, my heart is wide open, I'm happy to be a loving ambassador for you. And just grab a lawn chair and just sit out there. This is basically what Stephen Greer has referred to as C5 contacts. I've done quite a few of them, usually around the summertime, it's nice and warm. But usually we just go up to the mountains, and we'd see a whole bunch of them just coming up. And they're just so welcoming. There's a lot of them that are just so open, and they'll come right to you. And they'll flash their lights. Like I've had ones that have pulsed. They've just kind of shot across the sky. It's been really, really amazing. Just that they're very, very open to these contacts. I mean, we're in a very ripe age right now.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very good. I'm glad to see that. Yeah, there's some contacts happening. It's excellent. So I'm pretty sure I think almost everyone here has pretty much had some type of contact, right? Some type of sighting, some type of ET contact. Yeah, you're getting some nodding heads, so it's good. Absolutely. So, I mean, like I said, I talk to one on a daily basis, so it's okay. Okay, so very good, guys. Thank you so much for the class and sharing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be talking about opening to feeling centers. So this is just an aspect where we're looking more into how one very common question is to me is like, what can I do to make myself further sensitive? What can I do to open my psychic abilities a lot more further? You know, how can I make my higher connections happen? And it is all about the feeling centers. It's being able to let feeling come into your life. And again, if we've always had a type of logical mind, this can be the most challenging things for ourselves, because we feel that logic has been our rationality. It's been our saving grace in regards to all of our life. And so we're basically just attempting to learn ourselves to the point to where emotion is welcome to be expressed. So emotion and feeling have two different states. Emotion is basically just overstocked feeling that has not been addressed, feeling that has not been allowed to express itself, feeling that has been buried deep down inside. And as we keep doing that with more feelings and more feelings and more feelings, we get emotion. So all emotion is just this overstocking of overwhelming feeling. So what we're attempting to do is just notice that if there is a situation that comes into our life and we just have that type of emotional response, one of the habits we're attempting to learn here is to let those emotions out. You know, it's not about having to throw vases around or, you know, break things. It's not about that type of anger. But it's being able to give yourself permission to express it. You know, you're basically holding space for yourself. This is what is referred to as holding space. We just want to make sure that we have an open environment, a safe environment where we can express our feelings, where we can express our emotions all together. But the more that you're able to express the emotions, the more that the emotions are able to actually share themselves with you, then you're starting to notice that you're becoming lighter in the body. This is what happens usually when a person has a very, very good cry for quite a long time. They just suddenly stop, they reflect back in their body, they feel like they've given off like 50 pounds of emotional weight, and they feel a lot lighter because they did such a cleansing with the body. When you're in tears and when you're crying, there is so much emotion that is being just uplifted from your soul. That's just the power of the tears, the power of your unleashing of the emotion itself. But just being able to hold the space for yourself, you know, being able to move into your space and feel that it's safe, you know, being able to bless that space and all of that particular form of emotional energy that is coming through, it can be neutralized. It can be brought back into divine harmony. So what we want to do is just being able to be honest with ourselves, honest with our feelings, having that type of openness altogether. And it can be very, very challenging because we do have our day-to-day activities and we do have a lot of things that we have to tackle and a lot of things that we have to deal with as well. So just being able to really have that kind of alliance with the feeling side is how you're going to open yourself up to reality a lot more. One of the questions I actually got yesterday, I was doing a session yesterday with a group of people in Arizona, and this is actually very, very common in the spiritual movements, is that a person just wants to go into their higher states. I just want to be higher. I just want to move into the connection with my higher self. I just want to be there, and that's all it is. The heck with everything else in physical reality. The heck with everything within the physical mind. I just want to go into the higher states. I just want to bring the higher states into myself. I want to merge with my higher self, and it's going to be wonderful. It is wonderful. However, if you're only thinking that all you want is this, you're never going to get it. The reason being is because everything that you feel you are is basically looking to be discarded. It's usually to be thrown into a corner, right? So saying, you know, just the heck with the ego. I just want to get into my higher states, my higher consciousness. I don't want to be bothered with the ego anymore. I'm going to put the ego aside. It's not in charge of me, etc. That's fine, right? It's not in charge of you. However, the ego itself is looking to bond together harmoniously with you. And if you don't bond that ego together with yourself, then you're going to feel that there is an imbalance here. The whole idea here is that it's all about harmonizing with these particular states. It's about harmonizing with everything that you are. Your ego, your emotions, your feelings, everything needs to be brought into harmony. This is what makes your connections to the higher realms a lot more easier. So again, that starts with feeling, being able to talk to the ego. Because here's the thing, the ego really does want to help us out. It really does want to be able to work with us. It's part of us. But basically what's happened is we've thrown all of this nonsensical programming into the ego so much that it's basically gotten to this point where it feels out of control, where it feels it needs to guide you, where it feels it needs to mentor you, where it needs to be your commander, so to speak. So all we're attempting to do is fill the ego in with where we decide to go in life. So if we're having spiritual awakenings, if we're starting to have visions, if we're starting to move into new career, new finances, if a new partner comes into our life, etc., fill the ego in. Let the ego know this is exactly what's happening, because as you start to communicate with yourself and saying, oh my goodness, this is what's happening. Yeah, but shouldn't you be a little bit worried about the finances here? Well, look at what's happening to me here, right? I'm seeing all this, new opportunity for career coming in, and it feels like it's growing very strong. And you know, ego, that I'm very, very good at this. I have a really good talent for that. Oh yeah, okay, I can see where you're coming from, right? All you're doing is just communicating with the ego as if it's you just looking into a mirror. You're just looking at this other mirror reflection of yourself that represents the ego, and you're filling it in. You're just having negotiation, you're talking about things, and you're working together as a team. That's the whole key. This is what's really going to move you into, opening up your feeling centers, being able to develop more of a psychic ability, because now your ego is an alliance to you. Now it's not going to start throwing other particular thought forms that have nothing to do with you in the middle of a reading. So if you're doing a reading, if you're doing a healing, etc., and all of a sudden the ego wants to barge in and it wants to throw all this stuff at you, it's just because we haven't had that chance to communicate with the ego to share what we're doing right now, to basically check in that way. So the whole idea here is that this can certainly be attainable, but as long as you're feeling that you're always reaching for the higher states, for the higher consciousness, and you're not aligned through yourself, if you feel that you're scattered, you're only going to get scattered debris representing those higher states. This is why you feel you can't get direction, you can't get guidance properly, because your mind is so scattered. It's always about higher self, higher self, higher self. And that, in that sense, almost becomes a drug. So you want to make sure that when you're going into higher states, everything that you are is in a state of alignment. And that comes through the working together feeling, being able to be open and honest with yourself. Right now, I admit I feel imbalanced. Right now, I admit I feel I'm having financial difficulty. Right now, I admit I'm having family problems. Right? So you're just communicating with yourself and knowing that you have these certain situations. What can I do to balance this? Well, don't worry about this so much right now. Look into this. Look into how you can bring harmony into this. So you're basically just taking an element of the higher states through yourself and helping to transmute everything pertaining to ego, pertaining to emotions, pertaining to buried feelings, and just allowing that to become harmonized, allowing that to center. As you start to do that, now it becomes easier to connect with the higher self. Now it becomes easier to go into those higher planes of existence. And this is exactly what Adonis was sharing yesterday with these people. It was just saying that it's very, very commendable that you want to move into higher states of consciousness and that you want your higher self to help communicate with you, and you want to live the path of the higher self, but you haven't even lived the path of the physical self yet. That's the important thing as well too. You want to make sure that this is a ladder, right? We're going up ladders here. We need to take it one rung at a time. Okay? If we feel we're right here and that the higher self is right up here, we're not going to be taking that huge leap, all past these rungs, because the ladder is just going to collapse down upon us. We want to make sure that we're taking one step at a time, and that just represents us looking into the main thing of ourselves to see that we can climb one rung at a time so that we can now start to feel harmonized with the higher self. We never have to get to the higher self. This is, again, a misperception. You don't have to get to it. It's always there. The whole key is that you're stripping away layers to make it feel that the higher self is separate from you, that it's outside of yourself. It isn't. There is no outside. There is only here, there is only now, there is only you. So all you're doing is, as you're walking one step at a time on these ladders, on these rungs, that there are certain things that are just being stripped off. There are layers that are coming through, like a snake that is shedding its skin. That's basically what's happening here. So everything that we're doing here, when you're opening to your feeling centers, don't feel that the higher self is something that you need to connect to outside. Okay? It's not. It's right here. It's overlaid with your same state of being. It's overlaid with your consciousness. It's overlaid with your body. That's how the higher self exists. It's kind of like looking at those ancient porcelain dolls, you know, where you unscrew and you see another one inside, and then you see another one inside that one, another one inside that one. Those, you know, those inner dolls, so to speak, the inner being. That's what it is. We're just taking those lids off and we're discovering other selves. We're taking those lids off and we're discovering inner selves. That's it. That's how we operate. That's what we're attempting to do here. A lot of the people in the spiritual community feel that they need to just reach their hands up as high as they can and try and pull down the higher states as a drug, as an escape. This can be seen as a drug, unfortunately. I've met quite a few people who just feel that, you know, I just have to reach out a little bit further and I'm still seeking to connect with my higher self and all that. You don't need to seek to connect with your higher self. Your higher self is already here. It's already present. You never have to worry about things that you have to reach out and grab it. But you need to work on this. You need to work on the ego. You need to work on yourself. You need to work on expressing your emotional states. You need to feel welcome and allied with your own feeling centers. This is what's going to help you become more intuitive, more psychic. This is what's going to help you to direct yourself more into life. This will help you with guidance. This is what's going to make all of that happen. Starting to respect yourself, having that love, appreciation, and respect with everything that the ego represents. The ego is not the enemy here. It's never meant to be an enemy. It's only been confused because of all of this programming that we're experiencing in life about how we need to be raised, the morality concepts, you know, illusory states of value, you know, what we have to do with our time, doing the 9-to-5 jobs, you know, paying the bills, etc. All this stuff is clutter, and the ego just gets cluttered. It sees you getting frustrated by all of these particular programs contained within life. And so, because you're putting so much focus on frustration, the ego saves that. It's like a memory device. So it's basically coming behind you, and it's saying, oh, okay, Bob's starting to worry about his finances. Okay, so I'm going to start, you know, clustering all these thoughts together. So he's concerned about finances. Bob's concerned about his relationship failing with his wife. Okay, so I'm going to start collecting all that because that's all he's focusing on. That's all the ego's doing. It's just this big ball of memory that has been fused with the focuses of fear. And that's why the ego is like it is, just because it's followed your lead. So if you can take as much energy to counteract everything that represents the imbalances of the ego, you're going to move that more into positive reinforcement. Now you're going to see how the ego works with you. Now you're putting a lot of focus on what serves you. You're putting a lot of focus of what brings you joy, of what brings you love. The ego is going to reciprocate that now because that's all you're focusing on. And now because you're talking to the ego and you're actually negotiating with yourself and saying, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'm going to start this career as a healer. I'm going to start this career as a dancer. This is what I want to do. You know I have the skill sets, you know I have the talent, etc. Okay, so what are you going to do to make this happen? So then you start walking the course, you start walking the path, right? Now the ego starts to save that as memory because now you're focusing on the positive. You're bringing your positive reinforcement together. You're keeping the ego in the know, and it doesn't have to be confused by you deviating a path, okay? This all just starts with the feeling centers. This all just starts with being able to take the ego and make it your greatest ally. You know, this is in the book, Rainbow Wisdom, right? This is what I talk about, is not feeling that the ego needs to be your enemy. Your lower states are just as important as these, okay? It's not about the idea that, oh, to hell with this, I'm going up to the stairway to heaven and I'm never coming back. You cannot escape that way, okay? There's no escape from this. If you are in disarray, if you are in disharmony with your lower states, those lower states will follow you for eternity. There is no escape from them because you're putting energy into it. Who else is going to do this for you? Nobody. You're the one that's putting all of this energy into these feelings of fragmented lower states. Keep your lower states aligned. Align with them. Ally with those particular forms. And then as you start to do that, you start to feel that reciprocation effect of joy and centering. Now you can start to walk up the ladder a little bit more. Now you can start to come a little bit closer to stripping away those layers and feeling that the higher self is close to you. Okay, that's how it's done. It's not just feeling that you're like this, boom, 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 fragments everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to bring the higher self in. It won't know how to communicate with you. It's like trying to see a perfect reflection to a mirror that has been shattered. So it's like taking a rock, throwing it into a shattered mirror, and expecting to see the fullness of your reflection. You can't. You're only going to see bits of it here and there from the shattering marks, right? So the whole key here is being able to open to your feeling centers by being open to yourself. Respect your lower states as much as you respect your higher states. Okay? Any questions on that? We're good? Okay. I don't know, there's just like a scary silence. Like, everybody good? You can just say, yeah, Brad, we're good. Or like, I don't know, maybe I'm too terrified to answer. I don't know. What?
Well, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. There we go. Good.
Does this play into what your consciousness, what's the other word? Well, like the physical state of consciousness where you have like on TV shows, you'll have two things on your shoulders, one's a good guy, one's a bad guy. Right.
Yeah.
Is that about the same thing?
It is kind of, because that represents polarity, right? That represents the idea of fragmentation of yourself. So you always have the little angel on your devil, or your angel on your shoulder, who's always a sweet guy, always encouraging you, and of course you'll have the devil, who always feels, oh, come on, don't listen to him. Let's go take a quarter on his neck and strangle him. Let's go do this ourselves, right?
Right.
That's just a part of all this different types of fragmentation, right? And it's a good analogy as well, too. You have the angel and you have the devil on your shoulders, because you're still debating with yourself because there's no harmony. You feel that the good and the bad have been separated, the positive and the negative are segregated. And so that represents the idea of one who still has that kind of clustering of the ego, who feels that they can't make a decision because maybe I'm letting somebody down if I do this, so maybe the positive energy is trying to tell me that. Screw them, it's all about me, whatever it is, right? So the whole key here is just being able to look at, polarity as something that you can harmonize together. Bring the angel and the devil together and just start to create the center line. So walk the silver lining rather than the idea that you have to make a decision that's negative or positive. Discover the silver lining in between. Do what's best for you. Do what works for you. And there's going to be times where you're going to disappoint people, and there's just no way around that. People just aren't of your energy to understand what you're going through. And so disappointment for people will happen. Just being able to look into yourself and saying that, have I learned something from this experience? Am I now able to harmonize with all of these fragmented areas of my being? Can I come into my center, and can I start to follow the path that is complementary to me? Because if I start following the path that's complementary to me, it is going to benefit everybody within my inner circle of reality, because I'm walking my true path. Some people may not get it, but they still realize, well, okay, Willany is still very, very happy because she's following her path. And that's all that matters. And if some people can't be happy that you're happy, it has nothing to do with you, right? So it's being able to look into the middle ground, to look into the silver lining and saying that I'm not letting myself down, I'm not letting others down, I'm just doing what I feel is right. And that's the whole key here. Because we can get thrown guilt trips, we can have, fear binges, we can have all these particular types of problems, but all it is just telling us that we're just going against the scale like this. What can we do to go into center? And that's just bringing yourself into center, bringing yourself into neutrality. What is best for me? What serves me the most in this moment? And again, that really, in that sense, when I've talked about this to people, is saying, oh, Brad, that sounds very selfish. It is. Basically, what we're doing here on this planet is being selfishly selfless. Right? So it is about self, and it's being about selfless. So this is basically the paradox. We're only here for us. That's it. Everybody else within our reality is just a reflection, a catalyst for what we see as ourselves. We're only experiencing ourselves in this reality. It's no different than going off into the dream plane at night and seeing all these projections and just seeing all these interactions that take place from the projections that are coming together in the dream state. That's not to say that you don't care for anybody else. You certainly do. But the whole idea is that how can you help somebody else when you can't even help yourself? Because they're not even here. They're just a catalyst about what you feel is about yourself. Sure, they're soul. They're soulful beings, and they're very loving beings, and there's people, 7 billion people on the planet that have the capability of sharing some immense love. But right now, you're only attracting versions of them based on how you see yourself right here, right now, right? And so this is where the feeling centers are coming together. You're being open. You're being honest. You're interpreting those feelings in the best way that you can. So you want to remember that it has to begin with this. It has to begin with self. The self needs to be harmonized in order for you to become selfless, right? That's kind of the paradox. Adronis has shared quite a few times that you exist in drama to realize there's no such thing as drama, right? You are attempting to be practically impractical, right? It's all of these paradoxes. He loves to run paradoxes. It's great. But he basically says that when you start with the self, you realize that the self is an illusion for you to become selfless, right? That's the whole point, you know. So we are looking at the idea that, you know, there's service to self, there's service to others. You know, we are really working on to a service to self first, so that we can then serve others, right? All we're doing to serve others is being the example of what we know ourselves to be in regards to true nature, right? Our true nature is how we share, how we become, you know, this example for other people. If we really want to be passionate in helping other people around the world, you know, being able to, you know, go open up kitchens and help, you know, homeless people and shelters, fantastic, that's great, go ahead and do that. But what's very, very important is saying, have you helped yourself first? Because if you want to reach out a hand and help everybody else, and you don't feel that you've helped yourself, this is how you get taken advantage of. This is how you don't really have that strength of discernment, so other people can feel that they can flip-flop around you, that they can really take advantage of your situation, that they'll want more out of something, right? So this is basically how it works. The more that you're working with yourself, you know your own strengths, and you know your own weaknesses that have now become strengths, now you're able to have that discernment. Now you can't be taken advantage of anymore. Now you're helping people, but you're not feeling that you're a doormat. You know, you're not being stepped on, right? Now you can create that equilibrium of assisting people. You may even have new ideas. Maybe it's no longer about a soup kitchen anymore. Maybe it's about something even more grander that you can help people more, right? That all starts by looking into yourself. You've discovered exactly how you have been able to help yourself so that you can move into selflessness, right? So it really is that we're here to be both. We're here to be self and we're here to be selfless, but it really needs to just begin with ourselves, because we're the only ones that we can truly help with ourselves. We can certainly assist others with words, with inspirations, with ideas, etc., but it's up to them to take them. You know, we can't throw these ideas up their head and saying, here, catch, whew. Oh, here's an idea, okay, I'm going to be an accountant, right? It's not about that. We're the ones that can only direct our lives. We're the only ones who can come here and, you know, reshape our lives the way that we want to. And that everybody else that's playing this little role in our reality is the catalyst to helping us shape ourselves. And we're doing the same thing for them. We're being the catalyst to help shape them, right? But they are the ones to decide exactly how they decide to be shaped. With me here talking to all of you, I'm a catalyst that represents this part of yourself that you want to get to know more, right? And you guys are catalysts for me to help me understand more about what I am learning, what I am understanding, what I am growing to, you know, acknowledge a lot more further. So it's all just complementary relationship. Does that make sense, William?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, great. Excellent. All right, guys, so I'm going to leave that topic as it is right now. So that would be another part of your homework tonight, is focus on your feelings. If you have any bottled up feelings, let them out. Have a space of love. Come into your sacred space and just give yourself time to look into the feelings that you may feel have been held back, any particular forms of emotional states that you feel are just on the surface right now. Give yourself a good cry, right? That's what it's all about. Let that energy be free. As you do that, you allow the higher states to come together with you. That's basically what it is. It's like we're swallowing an anchor, and that anchor represents emotion. We're taking this huge anchor, and we're swallowing it down, and we're weighing ourselves down with this. And that anchor always wants to move itself back up. It wants to erupt. But we're saying, no, 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 keep down, keep down. This is identity, this is identity. I don't want to do that, right? So it's being able to let that anchor spew so that you can feel lighter. So now that you're starting to rise to the surface rather than constantly sinking underwater, okay? There's a good analogy to use. Okay. So now we're going to have some fun with the Chi Ball programming technique, okay? So basically with the Chi Ball, this is, again, might be very familiar with quite a few people, that we're just kind of warming up our hands like this, okay? And we're just kind of imagining that we're holding like a soap bubble, kind of like a crystal ball that's in the center of our hands. So what we're basically looking for here is just to kind of feel like that magnetic frequency, that magnetic feeling. You know how you're basically moving your hands together and you start to feel a bit of a magnetic tug? Well, that's all we're attempting to do here. And we can start to widen that out just as long as we can still feel that magnetic tug. And we're just imagining that this soap bubble, that this crystal ball, this chi sphere within our hands here is alive, and that we are actually creating it. Okay. Now, basically what we're doing here is when we have this chi ball in our hands, we're just starting to place programming into that chi ball. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. But if you guys want to keep creating that chi ball, go ahead. So here's our hands here. I'll try and do a good drawing job here. Not really. Okay, so our chi ball is right here. So we're just constantly starting to work with that. We want to make it feel tangible. We want to make it feel as real as possible, like we are actually just holding a ball of energy within our hands. So what we're going to be doing is we're just imagining that our thought, just like we did with the water, that our thoughts are now starting to be placed inside the chi ball. Okay? Let's say, for example, that I wanted to heal the heart chakra. Maybe I feel that my heart chakra has been fluttering a lot. There's been some distortion there, and I want to work on healing the heart chakra. Okay? So now I can just go ahead and create a thought that is based upon the intention of healing the heart chakra. Okay? So now I'm just imagining that I'm placing that right in the center, right in the nucleus of that chi sphere. So as I'm starting to create that chi sphere right now, I'm just starting to feel of, okay, I want to help heal my heart chakra. I want to help heal my heart. And so I'm just imagining that I'm putting that thought directly into the nucleus of that chi sphere right now. Okay? So I'm just giving that intention right now as I feel the chi sphere in my hand, as I feel that magnetic tug, as I feel the reality that I feel that this is actually present in my reality. And again, you can also say this with affirmation as well too. It is my intention to place the healing for my heart chakra directly in the center of this chi sphere. Okay. And now you can just start taking deep breaths in, deep breaths out, and you're just blowing that energy of intention through the mouth directly into the chi sphere. So it's just, right? So you're just continuing to do that. Give it a few good deep breaths. And take as much time as you want to with your chi sphere. It doesn't have to be done super quickly. Give it some time. You just want to make it feel real. You want to feel that you can look inside the chi sphere, and it's like you can see your thought that is embedded in there. Maybe you see like a thought that says love in your chi sphere. Maybe the chi sphere changes color. Maybe you start to feel the intensity with the chi sphere. However it wants to interpret itself with you, go ahead and do that. I think David has also mentioned that he's had some experiences with the chi sphere, and it's been quite beneficial. So David can always share that afterwards if he likes. But I certainly have had some very interesting experiences with the chi sphere as well too. That you're basically just empowering it with all this energy, with all this thought. And for example, if I was to use it again to help with the heart chakra, after I'm done with that kind of energy, I feel that the calibration for the chi sphere is powerful. And I'm basically just kind of taking that sphere like I'm holding it, and I'm just placing it and embedding it into the heart space itself. And I'm just staying there for a few seconds, just imagining that the chi sphere has embedded itself successfully directly into my energy. So it's basically fused itself directly into the heart. Okay, this is where imagination comes in. Okay, imagination is key in regards to this particular type of implementation. Imagination can be key as well too for healing as well, to receive visions and to allow that kind of energy if you were guided to let that happen, right? But you're basically just bringing that energy in, and you're just imagining that this chi sphere is being embedded and fused into your heart center. Now, it can be for anything else as well too. If you feel that you want to have financial abundance, okay? If I create a chi sphere that's all about financial abundance, and now I have this chi sphere going, where do I put it? Where do I put it? Well, this is your intuition, right? Your heart, your intuition may say, put it in the heart, put it up into your crown chakra, and just like you're imagining that you're wearing it as a hat, right? It all just depends. Your body will guide you to where this chi sphere needs to be placed. So that's something else as well. You can also use a chi sphere for environmental clearing. You can actually clear your environment with a chi sphere. So if I'm in my room right now and I just want to see, really beautiful, harmonious energies, maybe I'm seeing like gorgeous lights, sunlight rays that are coming through the ceiling, and I'm just feeling this kind of golden light all around my entire space because it really represents a strong harmony to me, well, then I'm going to imbue that into the chi sphere. I'm going to imagine that my whole room now is covered in beautiful golden light, and it feels really powerfully strong and loving. And so I'm putting that into the chi sphere, and now, following my intuition, I just decide to put that in the center of the room, right? And now that's it. I just let it be. The chi sphere is there. I go about my day. Maybe I leave for a few hours. I come back home. Oh my goodness, something feels great, right? Because I spent all that time programming that chi sphere to help harmonize my entire environment. Okay, this is a psychic technique. This is something that you can do with a chi ball. Chi balls have been used even in ancient Chinese medicine as well. They would use a configuration of something like a chi ball to actually perform healing on people. You can actually use the chi ball to access the Akashic records. We will be getting into the Akashic records in the next couple of weeks here, but you can certainly use something like that to work with that. I mean, the sky is the limit relating to the chi ball programming. Okay, so that's just kind of giving you guys a bit of a realization, a possibility to what the chi sphere has. So what we're doing now is we're just going to place a symbol in those particular types of chi spheres from those examples that we have given. So just like we have with the water, that sometimes we'll use a symbol that will be created, we're going to be doing the same thing with a chi sphere, right? So again, just using the same technique as before, but now let's say, for example, that I would like to have financial abundance. Okay, so what would be the symbol that I would create for that? So if I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a financial abundance symbol, okay, I'll have a circle here, and I'll have this dollar sign, and I'll have another dollar sign, and I'll have a little X in the middle. This is basically representing polarity coming together and harmonizing. Okay, just my own self-created symbol. That's all I'm doing here. Okay, so now I'm just spending a minute just kind of embedding that symbol into my mind, so it becomes very, very natural within my memory. And now I'm just going to start creating that chi sphere again, and now I'm going to just start seeing that symbol imbuing itself into the chi sphere. Okay, you want to be able to hold that symbol very clear within your mind for at least 90 seconds. Okay? 90 seconds is basically creating kind of like a hard coding, so to speak. It's like the neurological pathways are now starting to fuse a lot more stronger. If you start to have this kind of intention in your mind for at least 90 seconds, then this is basically what's helping to bring the manifestation into life on a much more, I guess you could say, propelling nature, a much more prominent nature within the chi sphere itself. So when you're just basically holding a thought in your mind with over 90 seconds, you're giving it an intense amount of focus, and it's kind of like something becomes hard-coded within the mind. So it's basically a solidification that happens. So that's all you're doing here, is you're just imagining this in here for about a good 90 seconds, okay? At least. You can always go longer if you wish, but as long as you're doing the 90 seconds. So again, the same thing applies. If it's financial abundance, okay, I'm just fusing that into the chi sphere, and now I'm asking my body, where should this go? Where does this particularly belong? Right? So that's something you guys can feel free to try with that. So this is just a little technique you guys can use. It's very, very helpful. This, again, like the water, can be very, very helpful, just depending on how you like to use it. Environmental clearing, healing, enhancement, working together with helping to develop psychic ability, helping to clear emotions, etc. It's very, very powerful. There's no limit to that. Okay. Any questions on the chi ball? David, did you want to share your experience with the chi ball? So I remember you were telling me a very good thing that happened with it.
I have used it a lot with clearing my environment, healing myself, healing others, and it really works really good. Also with like to harmonizing, balancing our environment works really great. I really recommend to work with the chi ball on clearing the environment. It also I feel an energetic physical change, or a higher state, also a warming sensation in the environment, also when I heal people or when I heal myself, I also feel a warming sensation, a very high warming sensation. It's really nice.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very, very powerful technique. And again, just something, I mean, some people like to use water as well too. Water has a very, very powerful catalyst as a mirror reflection of consciousness as well. Crystals can do the same thing, but this can do the same thing as well too. So it's really, really a preference about what you feel works best. Okay, great guys. So we're going to be moving on to reading demonstrations. So we're going to go ahead and partner up here. So I'm going to go ahead and get Willany and David to work together, and I'll get Khalil and Celissa to work together. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be doing a little sample reading here. So basically all this entails is that you're just tuning in to your partner. Someone will choose to go first, or I'll choose someone to go first either way. And you're just listening. That's it. Just be aware. Just listen to any particular types of thoughts, feelings, visions, whatever may come through. All you're doing is just being aware. It's just like giving someone a psychic reading, right? But you don't have to panic. It's okay. Again, just being able to really be aware of yourself. All we're doing is we're just feeling things on the surface today. That's all we're doing. So with Willany and David, David, I'll probably get you to go first, and then Willany can follow up. So David, whenever you feel ready, I would just recommend just giving yourself a minute to clear, to center. You know, take as much time as you need just to kind of gather your alignments of being able to reach your partner. And when you feel ready, David, you can go ahead and take it away.
Okay. I feel that you are going to be more aware of a process that you are going through, and you're going to be more aware of that is going to be more easy for you. You are going to see the simple point of view of a process that you are experiencing, and I feel that is an opportunity to have a different reactions from a repetitive situation that happened to us. I feel that you are going to a process that you have the opportunity to react different, to define and interpret different the situations that you're going through that are repetitive, and I feel that you have the power and the ability to transcend the process that you're going through, the challenge that you are going through or that you are going to have. But I feel that is going to be really fun, and because you are going to see the easy way to transcend it, it's going to be really joyful. I feel it.
Okay, good. Thank you, David. Feedback.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you, David. I don't really know what to say because it's just so awesome what you said.
Oh, great, excellent.
Thank you.
All right, very good. So, well, it'll be your turn now. So, just give me yourself a few seconds to center for as long as you need to, and when you're ready, you can go ahead and read it.
Mm-hmm. David, I feel a lot of joy coming your way if it's not already started. I do sense a lot of fun, a lot of new experiences, a lot of opening up to past experiences and parts of you that you haven't discovered yet. You're going to be introduced to them or reintroduced to them. I even see feelings of love and friendship around you, and I'm still pretty new at this, but I feel like some type of good relationship is coming your way.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. David, any feedback on that?
Yeah, I totally feel the same. I have been having like some repetitive situations too, but I'm having more joyful experience with it. So thank you.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you, guys. All right. Well done. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to Celissa and Khalil. So Celeste, I'll get you to go ahead and go first, and then Khalil can follow up. And again, just paying attention to any thoughts, feelings, visions, whatever may come into your mind, just feel free to share. That's basically the best way that you can get this psychic interpretation to happen very strongly. All right, so Celeste, whenever you feel ready, you can go ahead and take it away for Khalil.
Hi, Khalil. I'm getting the sense of work environment change, whether it's going to be slightly more technical or more heart-centered. It depends on your choices. Also, there's going to be you're either going to have an addition in terms of another pet, or also a change of place. So you're maybe looking to expand or possibly move, but that's, again, about choices. Good things, always good. You're moving towards more heart-centeredness, and your relationships are becoming more strong on those levels as well. And there's more harmony and joy. You're growing and expanding, and your guides are excited for you, your companion ones as well. So everything's good.
Very good. And follow up with that, Khalil?
Let's see. Well, first of all, that sounds great, Ed. I agree with a lot of that stuff. That's a lot of the stuff I'm shooting for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a lot of sense that you see all those things.
It's a positive providence. Yeah. You're saying if you're shooting for a lot of those things, and another psychic is saying it feels like this is going to come to pass, so I think you're doing something really good. Excellent. All right, so Khalil, whenever you feel ready, just give yourself a few moments to center, and when you feel ready, you can do a reading for Celeste.
Okay. All right. Well, Celeste, I feel like there's a lot of expansion coming your way. That was the main thing. Just a really huge amount of expansion. A lot of happiness, joy that comes with it. Let's see. That was really significantly what I got. I didn't get a lot of smaller details along with it.
That's good. So again, a lot of expansion. Follow up with that, Celeste.
Yeah, it's coming. Don't sweat the small stuff, as they say. That's just focusing on the bigger picture, etc. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. I do feel that as well too. There's some good expansion coming your way as well. And again, that's the whole idea. Just being able to feel the main essence of what's coming through. Depth comes later as an advanced technique. But basically what's important right now is you guys are just feeling the essence of what's coming through. And as you start to become more at home with that essence, then you're going to realize that there's more to it. You can kind of look at the smaller bits, but they do represent a great importance. So it's really just being able to broaden the depth perspective of our own understanding of what's coming through energetically. So we are going to be working on that within the next couple of weeks as well. So we are going to be spending like an entire next week is mainly going to be focusing on readings altogether. We're going to be looking at reading techniques. We're going to be looking in regards to looking more into depth. We're going to be looking more into essence. So, week number 7 will all be about this. Will all be about readings. And then, of course, week 8, we'll be moving into the Akashic Records. So a lot of good stuff coming together in the next couple of weeks. So again, really great readings here today, guys. Well done. So for the final topic today is we're just going to be talking about psychometry homework. So psychometry, as stated, is basically being able to tap into an object. It's kind of like what David was showing you there with one of his objects. It was very, very good. I just have a little fluorite crystal here, for example. And basically what you're going to do with this homework is you're just going to choose a particular object of your preference. Maybe it's a rock you found, lying in a street that you found very fascinating. Maybe it's something you've had with you for quite some time. Maybe it's something you go out and buy, whatever it is. You're basically just taking a notepad, piece of paper, and you're just starting to tap into the object itself. Just being able to hold it in certain ways, maybe stand up with it, kind of walk around it with it, whatever you have to do. You're just getting impressions of what the object is attempting to tell you. Okay? So it's giving you ideas. So if I'm looking at this, I'm seeing cave, I'm seeing walls, I'm seeing a lot of darkness, right? I'm seeing kind of like a gloved hand picking it up, etc. Right? So I'm looking at all these particular facets pertaining to what this object is attempting to tell me. I feel that there's a connection to Saturn with this particular object as well too. So this is quite interesting. So, so it's, I guess it's a Saturn stone. But you're just being able to be very aware of what the object is attempting to tell you. Okay, it's just an inanimate object. We're not focusing on birds or animals or anything like that. We're just focusing on a simple little object. Let it be something that's kind of very unique to you. Let it mean something to you. If it's just something that you find is very, very interesting, you know, if it's a white pebble on the ground, and oh, okay, it's been a while since I've seen a white pebble, pick it up and just start to talk with it. It's kind of like what we were doing last week with the homework assignment with talking to the trees, right? Now what we're doing is we're just listening to the object. We're just finding exactly what the object has to share with us, what it wants to convey. It's basically a storytelling time, so to speak. So that'll basically just be the homework for this week. You can certainly have multiple objects if you want to do multiple psychometry work. You can go ahead and do that. But if you just have one, we will be sharing our psychometry findings next week as well too. So that will be in next week's class. So be sure you do it because we're going to be saying, okay, what did you find? What did you discover through your psychometry? Okay. So that's basically what psychometry is, just being able to tune into the energy of an object and letting that energy tell its story to you. You may feel that it has a relationship to you as well too. You may feel that this is maybe something that's carried around with you for lifetimes. That can certainly happen as well too. A lot of people like to, I think the common one is that people like to share like crystals. You know, they get crystals and they want to talk so deeply about the crystals because there's always been some type of very profound experience relating to one person and crystal. So if that's something that you want to explore, by all means feel free to do so as well. Okay guys, that basically wraps up our class for today. Did we have any last questions before we wrap up today?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed. Oh, you made it again. Okay, there you go.
Me? Okay, sorry. I want to know if I know it's possible to make readings to a group, a collective. Like for example, you make a reading for all of four, like to share
Yes.
for
Yeah.
four of us.
Yeah.
But it's like the same as reading just one person, or you can have like different kinds of
No, it's
techniques.
basically you're seeing everybody as one mind. So I can basically demonstrate that for you about reading a collective. But basically, I mean, Jonas does it all the time, right? Like if I'm getting group environments, if I'm in front of a seminar room and I get hundreds of people, you know, around me, and I start talking to them, then I basically tap into the collective consciousness. And what this has intuitively helped me to do is actually adjust myself for the majority of the collective consciousness. So maybe I talk a little bit slower, maybe I talk a little bit louder, you know, maybe I adjust myself some way. So I'm actually tuning into the consciousness of the room. So it's that you're seeing everything as one, right? So if I'm looking at all of you guys, sure, you guys have, you know, individual nodes here. So if I have the four of you here, now I'm basically just looking at you through one particular collective. So if I was to tune into the Psychic Academy collective right now here with the four of you, there's a lot of curiosity, there's a lot of fascination, there's a lot of intrigue, there's excitement, there's a lot of different clustering pertaining to feelings here that are very, very well generated. I feel that there's some eagerness as well too to getting things started. I feel that everybody here is really generally cooperative. They really enjoy working well with each other. There's a lot of strong connections with easement for everybody here. Everybody's just working together really well. It's kind of like just seeing all these drops of the water that are forming this huge wave and are just working together in parallels. So I feel that there's a lot of strong energy here in regards to cooperation, in regards to unity. I feel that if you guys actually were able to get together in real life, there'd be some great conversations as well too. So, so yeah, that's just kind of what I feel. You know, just being able to tap into the matrix of this group. Right? Am I right, guys? Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
You're
Thank
right.
you, Brad.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
But yeah, you guys are a very easy group to get along with. It's excellent. But that's basically all I'm doing. So when I did that, David, I just saw you as one. I just saw this entire group consciousness that we are as an entity, as its own entity itself. And there are entities like that exist. They're also referred to as Gestalt entities. Is everybody familiar with this term? Gestalt entities? Okay, well, a Gestalt entity basically is an energy that is legion capacity, a monadic consciousness, a group-based consciousness itself. So basically like an infusion of many different minds as one. Okay. And now, really, if we're looking at it in higher levels, all of us really are Gestalt entities in that way, simply because we do hold the connections to all of our Akasha and connected to all these forms as well. But when we're looking into wanting to have a group collective consciousness reading, we're just looking to that as a Gestalt entity. So we're looking into many inside the one. Again, it's going back to that porcelain doll with seeing all the other smaller dolls inside it, right? The many inside the one. And that represents itself. So when you're going into collective consciousness readings, you're looking into Gestalt entities. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Brett.
Great, no problem.
Perfect.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, let's see. So this week when I was doing kinesiology, I noticed that my yes and no weren't always definite. It seems like there was a lot of maybe in there.
What sort of things were you testing?
Trying to check and see if a chakra was or was not in alignment. For example, just asking questions that I already knew the answer to.
Okay.
Just to see what a yes is supposed to look like versus a no. And
okay.
Sometimes it's clear, but it seems like most of the time it was not clear.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time. It's basically just giving yourself a centering, because the reason why there's conflict is because your own thoughts have already made up their mind about what the answer is. So that can sometimes represent a form of a discord with the kinesiology. So with the kinesiology, you want to kind of do it, it's almost like a fresh perspective. You don't want to give it too much thought about what you're asking. So if I'm looking up right now and I'm saying, okay, how is my heart chakra? My heart chakra strong? Okay, very good. So I'm getting that really instantaneous reaction. If I'm dwelling on it too much, if I'm saying, okay, yeah, my heart chakra is really, really weak. My heart chakra is really, really weak, right? Now it goes down, right? That's because I'm putting too much generation of thought on top of the kinesiology itself. You want to keep everything fresh. It's fresh lima beans, so to speak, when it comes to kinesiology. If you're just dwelling on the thought too much, then basically what happens is you're getting all this energetic weight, and your muscles just basically respond more to your cognizance rather than the idea of intuition, right? So you want to make sure that that weight gets taken away. So you don't want to have too much weight on kinesiology. You just want to make sure that it's a very fresh perspective. You know, if I'm just checking my energy body right now, you know, I feel that how is my vitality energy right now? Okay, it's very strong, right? So I'm getting a very, very fresh perspective of that. So it's just very important that we don't dwell on the energy or that we have preconceived notions. Usually the best thing to do is try not to ask questions that you already know the answer to, or if you feel that you want to still look into those questions, keep yourself neutralized. Okay? Keep yourself very, very centered, and don't even bother to go into that question until you feel you have a neutral mind. Just that thoughts that you have, the cognizance, can basically contaminate that form of reading. So kinesiology can be a little tricky in that one. Make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, anybody else? Any questions? No? Okay, we're good. All right, well, thank you so much, guys, for being a part of the class today. Really appreciate it. And tomorrow we'll be back again. So we'll be dealing with some of this stuff and a little bit more stuff. Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be looking more into mediumship. So there's going to be kind of like 2 small curriculums into this whole week. So we're going to be looking more into mediumship and spirit communication for Monday and Tuesday. Okay. We'll have a little bit of that tomorrow as well, too. So thanks again, guys, for being here today, and have a wonderful weekend, and looking forward to speaking to you again soon. Namaste.
Namaste, thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.